November 24th, 1971. A man walked into Portland International Airport. He was dressed in a dark business suit, a white shirt, and a black tie. Nothing about him seemed unusual. Witnesses later described him as calm, polite, and well-spoken. The man approached the ticket counter and purchased a one-way ticket to Seattle. The name on the ticket was Dan Cooper. At the time, nobody knew they were about to witness one of the most famous unsolved crimes in American history. After purchasing his ticket, Cooper waited quietly for his flight. He smoked cigarettes and appeared completely relaxed. The flight was Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305, a short trip from Portland to Seattle, a routine flight, or so everyone thought. Shortly after boarding, Cooper took a seat near the rear of the aircraft. The plane was a Boeing 727 carrying passengers and crew. Nothing seemed suspicious. As the aircraft took off, passengers settled into their seats. Some read newspapers, others looked out the windows. Flight attendants began their normal service. Then everything changed. Cooper handed a folded note to a flight attendant named Florence Schaffner. At first, she assumed it was a phone number. She placed it in her purse without reading it. Cooper leaned closer. "Miss, you'd better read that note. I have a bomb." The words would become legendary. Florence opened the note and felt her heart race. The message was short and direct. It claimed Cooper had a bomb inside his briefcase. He instructed her to sit beside him. Carefully, she followed his instructions. When she sat down, Cooper opened his briefcase slightly. Inside appeared to be wires, batteries, and cylindrical objects. Whether it was a real bomb remains unknown. But at that moment, everyone believed the threat was real. Cooper remained calm. He never shouted. He never threatened passengers directly. His behavior surprised investigators for decades. Most hijackers were emotional and unpredictable. D.B. Cooper was different. He appeared organized, prepared, and completely in control. Soon he revealed his demands. He wanted $200,000 in cash, 4 parachutes, and a fuel truck waiting in Seattle. The message was delivered to the cockpit. The crew immediately contacted authorities. As the plane continued towards Seattle, a massive operation began behind the scenes. The FBI, local police, airline officials, everyone scrambled to respond. Yet passengers remained unaware. Most believed they were experiencing a normal flight. The mystery had only just begun. As Flight 305 continued toward Seattle, the crew informed authorities about Cooper's demands. The situation was unlike anything they had experienced before. Inside the cabin, passengers remained calm. Most had no idea they were part of a hijacking. Meanwhile, Cooper sat quietly in his seat. He ordered a drink. He smoked cigarettes, and he patiently waited. There was no panic, no shouting, no violence. This calm behavior would later become one of the strangest aspects of the case. Investigators could not understand how someone committing such a serious crime appeared so relaxed. As the plane approached Seattle, law enforcement agencies worked quickly. The FBI coordinated with airline officials. Arrangements were made to gather the ransom money. $200,000 in cash. The bills were carefully photographed before being handed over. Officials hoped the serial numbers would eventually lead them to Cooper. At Seattle, the aircraft landed safely. The airport was surrounded by police and federal agents. However, Cooper had specific instructions. He demanded that no one attempt to storm the aircraft. The authorities complied. A fuel truck arrived, the ransom money arrived, and 4 parachutes were delivered. One by one, Cooper's demands were met. The exchange took place without incident. Then Cooper made another surprising decision. He released all of the passengers. Every passenger was allowed to leave the aircraft safely. Several crew members were also released. Only a small number of crew remained on board. Investigators later wondered why Cooper had requested 4 parachutes. One theory suggested he wanted authorities to believe he might force a hostage to jump with him. If that were true, officials would be less likely to sabotage the parachutes. Whether that was his intention remains unknown. After refueling, Cooper ordered the plane back into the air. This time, the destination was not Seattle. He instructed the pilots to fly toward Mexico City, but he gave very unusual instructions. Fly at a low altitude. Keep the speed slow. Leave the rear stairway accessible. The crew followed his orders. Outside, the weather had become increasingly dangerous. Heavy rain covered the region. Strong winds battered the aircraft. Darkness filled the sky. Yet Cooper appeared confident. As the plane flew south, military aircraft secretly followed from a distance. Authorities hoped to track Cooper and arrest him when the opportunity appeared. But nobody could predict what would happen next. Inside the cabin, Cooper collected the money. He secured the parachutes. He checked his equipment carefully. The crew remained nervous. Every minute increased the tension. Some feared he might have a real bomb. Others worried he could become unpredictable. Yet Cooper remained calm until the very end. Then, somewhere above the Pacific Northwest, he prepared for the most dangerous part of his plan. A plan that would transform him into a legend. A plan that would create one of the greatest mysteries in FBI history. And within minutes, D.B. Cooper would disappear into the night. The aircraft continued through the storm. Rain slammed against the fuselage. Powerful winds shook the plane. Inside, D.B. Cooper was preparing for the final stage of his plan. The crew remained inside the cockpit. They followed his instructions carefully. No one knew exactly what he was planning. At approximately 8 p.m., a warning light suddenly illuminated inside the cockpit. It indicated that the rear staircase had been activated. The pilots immediately understood what it meant. Cooper was moving toward the back of the aircraft. Minutes later, the aircraft experienced a sudden upward movement. The crew felt a noticeable change in balance. Something had happened. Something had left the plane. But nobody could see Cooper. The storm outside was intense. Visibility was extremely poor. And somewhere below was a vast wilderness of forests, rivers, and mountains. The aircraft continued flying. When it finally landed, investigators rushed on board. They searched every section of the plane. The result was shocking. D.B. Cooper was gone. The money was gone. One parachute was gone. The mysterious hijacker had vanished into the night. Immediately, the FBI launched one of the largest investigations in its history. Agents searched forests. They searched rivers. They searched mountains. Helicopters scanned the landscape. Ground teams spent months examining remote areas. Nothing. No body. No parachute. No trace of D.B. Cooper. The case quickly became a national obsession. Newspapers covered the story every day. Television programs discussed possible theories. Everyone wanted to know the same thing. Did Cooper survive? Some investigators believed he died during the jump. The conditions were terrible. Heavy rain, strong winds, freezing temperatures, and complete darkness. Jumping into such conditions seemed almost impossible. Others disagreed. They believed Cooper was experienced. They pointed to his calm behavior, his knowledge of aircraft, his detailed instructions. Everything suggested careful planning. Years passed, then decades. The mystery refused to disappear. In 1980, a young boy made an unexpected discovery. While playing on a riverbank known as Tina Bar, he found bundles of decaying cash. The serial numbers matched the ransom money given to D.B. Cooper. It was the first major piece of physical evidence ever recovered. Yet the discovery created more questions than answers. How did the money end up there? What happened to the rest? Where was Cooper? The FBI continued investigating. Thousands of suspects were examined. Former military personnel, professional parachutists, criminals, adventurers. None could be definitively linked to the crime. As technology improved, investigators revisited old evidence. Fingerprints were analyzed. DNA was examined. Witness testimony was reviewed. Still, no definitive answer emerged. Eventually, after more than 4 decades, the FBI officially suspended active investigation of the case. The mystery remains unsolved. Today, D.B. Cooper has become a legend. Books have been written about him. Documentaries have explored the case. Countless theories continue to circulate online. Some believe he survived and escaped. Others believe he died the night he jumped. The truth may never be known. More than 50 years later, one question remains unanswered. Who was D.B. Cooper? And what really happened after he disappeared into the storm? Perhaps somewhere, hidden among old records and forgotten memories, the answer still exists. Until then, the D.B. Cooper mystery remains one of the greatest unsolved cases in history. A man boarded a plane, demanded a fortune, jumped into the darkness, and vanished forever. What do you think happened to D.B. Cooper? Let us know in the comments. And subscribe for more unsolved mysteries and true crime stories.